Okay, now I got some cancer patients here that have had techniques put on them that they're going to share their future on how they died and if it helped their cycle of their death. Now, out of 12 billion of them, only 15 of them went without pain in their death. I can smell their sepulsa, which is the smell of their death of this medication you guys used. Because I'm a telekinetic, I smell their death. So I can tell their species and what their problems were and how they died and all that kind of stuff. So what we're going to explain is there was 10 billion people that were still in severe pain because they did not listen to a doctor like me. I have all the abilities necessary to help those to have no pain in death and cycle them pain free. I have every supposed belief that you guys don't believe in my mind, and I have the techniques to tell them. Now, I am going to, however, tell you of a doctor back in 1702 that did the same techniques that I'm doing right now, and he was a live human 17 years ago. You guys said he was brainless and unable to do his job when he was able to heal 17 patients to 25 patients with this supposed technique that you guys said that didn't work, and in fact, it did. The technique of the putia, the spell that kept you numb through your skin and layers and stuff, you guys said it didn't work, when in fact it did work. I spoke to all the dead ones that was able to take this technique and it worked. It healed their bodies and they were capable of having no pain during their death. So while you guys were scrutinizing over my layers of abilities, you guys didn't like my techniques back in Japan. I was in Japan and I was doing all this stuff. You guys said that I was unsupposedly able to do this stuff. And I did it to 15 patients, and each patient talked to me in death and told me that they worked great. They were able to numb themselves out and telekinetically turn into a living being again like this with no pain at all. Their life was so much easier because that technique was used. The one with the Fukura spell. Remember that time you guys kept saying you didn't believe in my techniques of Poltegata? All these humans? Well, I did it and it worked. Ha ha ha. So, nah, doctors out there fail to listen to a word anybody's got to say. They like to listen sometimes, but whenever it comes to pain and stuff, they're always like, oh no, they're in pain still. No, they were having tremors. Tremors are power abilities that you have when you're doing this, okay? When you're numbing out, your body does this, that means you're feeling great. Your body is numbed out and you don't feel the pain that you had for 17 years of your life suffering. See, they had techniques in heaven that did this all the time. Kolotokopoi. It blessed their skills and made them in no pain. But in human forms, it took the Pakala technique that really worked. The Pakala technique was whenever they hit this part here in the arm, it numbed out all the pain and went down. Now, for those that don't have an arm, say, there's a polka dot spot in your back. That's for those that don't have, the arm technique. Right there in your back, you got a polka dot, which is in your scoliosis spot right here. And it has a pressure point that you press in your back right here, right there. You press it in during the time that you're dying. It cycles zero pain and it does the paralysis attack on your body. That does a technique for the human body to accelerate to the brain. And she could tell because she's pressing it and she numbs out. That's how you can tell it numbs out the death. So in order for you to increase that, there's a increase if necessary. If it's getting worse and the severe pain and that's not working, you want to do that Pokolta spell, which is right here. She says it's right here, which is Bokoro, but I think it's right here. So you can press both spots just to get to it. But basically, you press this part here, and it numbs it out extra. This part here does a Kita La Kui. Ah, Kita La Kui is a spell, but for humans, you want to press this spot. Because in humans, they have the extra spot where you press right here and it numbs out the brain. That's the Pita La spot. It goes straight through your verbio and it goes into your circulators and cuts through the indriums. All the indriums that's in your system, it goes straight through your whole body and circulates everything all at once. And it does a kaputa spell, basically a numb out spell. You'll be so numbed out that you won't even know that you're dying. It's great for those that are dying. So these are techniques that you want to learn. There's also other techniques I could teach because I know every ribio spot in the whole body to paralyze your system. I can numb out a person that is attacking me. That's why. Because, see, a lot of times people are scared of certain people and they get very defensive. Well, if you put those two techniques together, it helps create a ribio which reflexes the whole body to numb it out to paralyze your whole system. And the ribio condition is a condition that can be recycled over and over for several hours later. It takes 17 to 20 hours later for the body to recollect exactly what the condition was that was numbing you out. All those conditions, it takes 17 to 24 hours to recycle. You may have used it for an inch, but it recycles back to 17 to 24 hours so you can reuse those abilities. They work really well. You'll notice the numbing in your head, and you'll realize that this technique is the best technique for those that are ill patients in hospitals. The ribio cancer. Ribio cancer is a severe cancer in the sotokolo spot, which is right here. It goes through the whole body and circulates a cancer to your body, making you think you're dying every 30 seconds. Those techniques work really well to numbing that out and paralyzing you to where you don't think you're dying. And it wakes you back up. And it cycles you to begin all over to being able to do your daily job again. And a lot of times, there's a technique. I'm going to go back to this one and restart another video because this one's a technique. I don't know. Maybe I should go ahead and tell you about it. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm going to wait because I got to. What was it again? I kind of forgot. I'll go back to that one. That one's a technique that takes forever to learn.